Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us for another Zoo to You here at Franklin Park Zoo. My name is Amanda. I am an ambassador animal supervisor here at Franklin Park, and I'm joined by Amy, one of our ambassador animal specialists. And most importantly, we have our ambassador Fennec fox Ariel with us today to do a little bit of early Halloween celebration and some painting enrichment fun. So we are going to let Ariel out of her crate here into this little pen so you guys can see her have some first look into the pumpkins, which is a seasonal enrichment item that we give to our animals. So she has not seen these pumpkins in quite a bit of time. It's always something that we try to incorporate into our animals enrichment routine seasonally here. So you'll see she's kind of interacting with these pumpkins, as well as, most importantly, making sure that Amy knows she is there. She is a very food-motivated animal, so you'll be definitely seeing that during this Zoo to You. So what we're going to be doing here is what we call a painting enrichment session. This is not something we do all the time. It's considered a special thing that Ariel gets to do. That is beneficial for her. It's something a little bit different. It's enriching, as well as for us, we get a really awesome painting out of it too. So it's a win-win by far. And we're going to be incorporating something different today that we have never done with Ariel. And we're going to see if maybe she wants to paint some paw prints onto the pumpkins. So we're going to try to switch up some things a little bit. So a little bit about Ariel before we get started. Ariel is a Fennec fox that is about 7 years old. She came to us from the Bronx Zoo. That's where she was born, and she was born within our species survival program. So we are an active participant in that program. Just to give a little background on what that means. So most AZA accredited zoos participate in what we call species survival programs. And it's basically a program for specific species to make sure that we have enough of those species born in our zoos so that way we can have a thriving, healthy population. So that's something that we make sure that we take very seriously. We listen to all of our coordinators, and Ariel is proudly a part of that program too. So that is making sure that we have ambassador animals like Ariel to be able to spread the word about conservation, have guests meet her up close and personal. And what usually happens in these Zoo to You videos with our ambassadors, I go, hey, I've been to the zoo, but I have never seen a Fennec fox before. These guys don't live on exhibit. They live in a behind-the-scenes area, and they come out for very special programs, just like you guys are watching today. So if you ever book a Fennec fox tour, which we do have information for that on our website, or maybe participate in an after-school program, maybe our education, you might get the chance to meet Ariel herself. So today is definitely a very special interaction that you guys get to see on our Facebook Live. Actually, a fun fact about Ariel. Ariel was actually our first animal featured in our Franklin Park Zoo to You back in early 2020 of the pandemic. So this is her second appearance during a Zoo to You. It's her third? Oh, awesome. So feel free to put any questions about Ariel in the chat as we go along. But like I said, we do have these pumpkins here. Let's see if maybe we can get her to put some paw prints on that and get a little closer look at that beautiful painting, which is awesome. So these paintings, we actually do offer painting programs with Ariel. So if you want to add that on to a Fennec fox tour, you can actually get a painting yourself to take home. We also do a lot of auctions yearly for other animals that do paint at the zoo. So definitely check back on our website for more information on that as well. So Amy's going to see if she can put maybe some paws onto those pumpkins. They're a little bit tiny pumpkins for her, but we'll see what we can get out of those. You might be wondering what Amy is feeding her right now. One of Ariel's favorite snacks are romaine lettuce. Fennec foxes are considered omnivores, which means that they eat fruits and veggies, but they also eat meat as well. So they're just like us. Maybe you guys find romaine lettuce to be a yummy snack, but these guys really, really love romaine lettuce. And one of the reasons why we think Ariel seems to really like them is because it's really, really high in water content. And Ariel is native to the deserts in Africa, where there wouldn't be able to find so much water. So being able to find food with a high water content would be really important. And that's the case for many animal species, not just Ariel, is that a lot of animals get their water from their food, which is a little bit different than us as people. Ariel also really loves a variety of bugs, like mealworms, superworms. She loves roaches, crickets, and she does get lots of other foods like sweet potato, carrots. She even eats an exotic canine chow that is very similar to what the foxes eat, other foxes eat here at our zoo too. Another fun fact that I love to talk about with these guys and a lot of other animals too is that we also feed what we consider a horse meat. It's the same meat that the tigers and the lions get here at the zoo, but we can actually use that same meat for smaller animals like our fennec fox or even our domestic ferrets too. So that is something that is really cool about our fennec foxes as well, that they can actually eat the same food that our lions and tigers can as well. What's so interesting too is we have another fennec fox named Cosmo, who is Ariel's companion, who's not here on screen today, but they have such a variety of different taste buds and they do not like the same food at all. Ariel will eat that horse meat very willingly and Cosmo wants nothing to do with it whatsoever. And differently as well, Ariel doesn't really love peanut butter, but Cosmo loves peanut butter. So just like you and me, animals have different taste buds and they enjoy different types of food. So we want to make sure we're learning about our animals and knowing what they like and they don't like. And that helps us with training as well. So you can see Amy has that pole right in front of her that Ariel is either touching with her nose or her paw. Those are both acceptable forms for her to touch. That is what we call a target pole, and it's one of our training tools that we use not just with our fennec fox, but almost all of our animals at the zoo. So if you're ever watching a training session, maybe on a Zoo to You, or if you come to the zoo and you happen to see one, you're probably most likely going to see some sort of target used in that session. And that's going to vary sometimes of how they look. So they don't always look like what Ariel's does. Sometimes they're bigger, sometimes they're smaller. You want to make sure you get the right size for that animal because every animal has a different type of body shape too, right? So animals are almost always trained to touch the tip of their nose up to that target pole, and it helps us communicate with that animal with what we are asking them to do. So we can't speak the same language as our animals, but we can learn to communicate with them in other ways. And that target is kind of learning like the ABCs of communicating with them. Once we get them to touch that target and be able to understand what that means, we can teach them a variety of other behaviors that maybe help with their medical care, maybe help with getting them acquainted to programs like you're seeing here. One of the things that makes Ariel such an amazing ambassador animal is that she's extremely adaptable and she's great at working in different settings. So right now we're in a building in the zoo that she doesn't normally go to. She does not live in here. And there's even different people in here right now that she's never seen before, and it does not faze her. And that's what makes her such an amazing ambassador animal. And that's what we thrive to do with all of our training. So does anyone have any questions maybe on the chat? Otherwise, I can go on and on about Ariel.
We're getting the last couple treats too. So
okay.
I might lose interest in painting in just a minute.
Okay.
Someone asked why she doesn't have a fox-like tail.
That's a great question. So Ariel, like I said, was born at the Bronx Zoo. And we were told that her mother over-groomed her when she was very young, which caused her tail to not fully form on her. So that's why she does not have a tail. Tails are really important for most animals for balance and being able to maybe be great climbers and jumpers. Ariel, living under human care, does just fine without her tail, and she is just as great about getting around her exhibits, and we've never seen her interact any differently than our other fennec fox Cosmo, who does have his tail. But that's a great question.
We had a couple people ask how old she is and also if she'll have kids.
That's a great question. So Ariel is 7 years old, so she is a hardy adult female. Ariel was actually suggested by our SSP coordinator, I talked a little bit about that earlier in the zoo to you, to not have babies. So we get recommendations based on that coordinator that go through. They do a lot of genetic testing, and they want to make sure that when we're breeding animals is that we have a really diverse genetics to work with. And Ariel's genetics might not be exactly what they need to be able to breed. So we want to make sure we're having healthy fennec fox babies to live on in our zoos. But Cosmo, who is our male, actually will get some recommendations to leave to go to another zoo where he can hopefully breed with other fennec foxes. So that's a great question.
Someone asked, could you remind us where she lives in the zoo?
Yeah, so she lives in a behind the scenes area that we call Little Critters. So guests are not able to go back there, but if you are interested in meeting Ariel in person, you can book one of our fennec fox tours. All that information is up on our website, and we do have painting opportunities with her as well. So you definitely can meet her. It just takes a little bit more searching in the zoo to do that.
I guess the last one we'll take is, what does she eat and how much?
Great question. So Ariel's diet is very based on what A, she likes to eat, and two, her body condition and what is good for her. So she'll eat every day. She eats her greens, her sweet potato, her carrot. We have some chow. She gets a variety of bugs and horse meat as well. So she gets a really varied diet, as well as she does get what we consider novel food. So just like you guys love eating ice cream and cookies, but you might probably not eat that every day because it's not good for you, Ariel gets some treats too throughout the week. So we try to vary that up. So different treats for her would be considered maybe applesauce. We'll give her different types of bugs like roaches, blueberries, raspberries. Those are all types of food that are not part of her daily diet, but we like to switch it up with her quite a bit.
I think that's all we have time for. Do you want to just mention Zoo Howl?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have an event coming up at the zoo this weekend called Zoo Howl, where you'll be seeing even more pumpkin enrichment with some of our other animals that live on exhibit. So definitely check out our website to learn a little bit more about that event happening this weekend. And we hope that you guys are able to join us for that event and see some more pumpkin fun. So thank you guys so much for joining our Zoo to You with Ariel today. Definitely check out our website if you want to meet her in person here at the zoo. And we hope you enjoy your Halloween weekend.